The United States is preparing for a longer and potentially deadlier conflict with Iran. As the war enters a new phase, the Pentagon is rushing to rebuild its missile stockpiles, secure billions in new funding, and push defense contractors to rapidly scale up the weapons production. The urgency comes after just days of intense military action in the region. Now, that's already burned through some of America's most advanced and expensive munitions. Pentagon officials are now drawing up plans to replenish missiles used in the conflict, including Patriot interceptors, Tomahawk cruise missiles, and THAAD air defense systems, all of which have been deployed heavily since the war started. And the price tag is staggering. Analysts estimating that in just the first 4 days of the operation, the U.S. military campaign against Iran may have cost close to $11 billion. That figure includes nearly $5.7 billion in missile interceptors used to shoot down Iranian ballistic missiles and drones, another $3.4 billion in bombs and strike missiles fired by U.S. forces. And that does not even include the cost of troops, training, or the massive deployment of more than a dozen warships and over 100 aircraft positioned across the region. As a result of this, critical American stockpiles are now under pressure. The Pentagon is expected to ask the Congress for new emergency funding to replenish these weapons, even as defense officials struggle with a war that has no clear end date. The challenge, compounded by an industrial base that was already stretched, not just by current conflicts, but by preparations for future threats, particularly from China. Remember, President Trump responded by calling for a massive expansion of defense spending. The president proposed a defense budget of $1.5 trillion, which is around $500 billion more than the current levels. He is also pressuring defense giants like Lockheed Martin and Boeing, reportedly, to triple or even quadruple the production of advanced missiles. The White House insisting the U.S. military still has more than enough weapons to achieve its objectives in the West Asia war. But even President Trump has acknowledged that some of those sophisticated hardware are in extremely high demand. And the battlefield is only adding to that pressure. Iran has been launching ballistic missiles and drones across the region. It has fired thousands of projectiles since the war started. In fact, the UAE alone says 189 ballistic missiles have been fired towards its territory during the conflict. Western officials say Iran's strategy appears deliberate. Instead of firing massive barrages, Iran has been launching missiles at a slow but steady pace. And Israel calls this tactic of Tehran a drizzle strategy. The aim basically is to force Israel and its allies to continuously fire expensive interceptors, and this will drain the defense systems of its adversaries over time. In fact, analysts are saying Iran has used this strategy before. During last year's brief war with Israel and the US, Tehran, remember, held back some of its most advanced missiles until late in the conflict, waiting for Israel's defense stockpiles to thin out.